Alright mate, Slimy here, and welcome to, well, this video. Earlier this morning, I was browsing YouTube out of boredom, and I came across a video that was called, like, Pizza Tower Stupid Rat Percent, which was a guy speedrunning through the first level of Pizza Tower, just to get to the second level where he could look at a stupid rat. And for some reason that got me thinking, mainly because I was in the shower at the time. What other games could you, like, theoretically speedrun to get to a point where you look at a rat? And for some reason Terraria popped into my mind, and I thought, actually you could do one better. Taking an idea from Pokemon, I guess. We're not just going to look at a rat, we're actually going to, you know, catch a rat. So while I was in the shower, I actually formulated this big whole idea in my head of how this could actually be achieved. And that's kind of what this entire little video is going to be about. So basically what I did then is basically I made a new character, I started a new world. And that's just to show you that, you know, I don't have any, like, pre-made stuff. You know, it's what you're supposed to do with a speedrun and that. You know, start fresh. Here's my really terrible attempt at the speedrun strategy of, like, hitting every single tree that you come across, like, as you move around, to mine it a bit faster than mining them individually. Now, what I'm actually doing here is I'm getting wood so that I can actually build I'm going to build 2 NPC houses. I would like to build just the one, but because the guy, like, pre-spawns into the world and that, I do actually have to build 2, just so I can get him out of the way so I can get the merchant in. Because the merchant is kind of, you know, the big, like, the main part of this speedrun. Getting him in, and also spawning a graveyard, and getting glass are, like, the main components of this. So I actually just use a really simple style of building here. This is what I actually use in my regular Terraria world, because I have no building skill whatsoever in Terraria. I'd like to be able to build, but I'm just really that bad. As you can see, I'm actually quite poorly optimized with this, but I actually use one of the poor optimizations to my advantage later on, which is a weird way of putting it. And what I decided to do here is, you'll see me, like, making torches, because I actually need them just for the NPC houses. But I actually need torches for something else, and that's actually for making a furnace. Which you'll see me dig down about now to actually get the 20 stone for a furnace. And the reason why we need 20 stone specifically, you know, for that furnace, is, well, we're gonna need to make a terrarium to put the rat in. That's, like, the end goal of this really dumb speedrun. So now that we've got our 20 stone, we do have a bit of an obstruction of a slime. Now, the reason why I actually do kill this is because I'm gonna need 50 silver for the merchant to move in. At this point, I just decide to explore. Luckily enough, there is actually a desert nearby, which is one of the things that I'm hoping for. I actually have done a previous attempt at this, where there was actually a desert nearby. But unfortunately, there was, like, no way of going underground, which was another thing that I was looking for. Mainly just to get 50 silver, because by the end of the first night in that attempt, I only had 7 silver. And arguably I wanted to get it done in the first day. But we've got 32 sand here, and we're going to actually make our furnace now, and then craft the 32 sand into 16 glass, which I just overshot a little bit there. But then once we've got that, we can actually make the terrarium. We're just going to hold on to it just for now. And we're going to start looking for a place where we can go underground. Now again, this is actually a really lucky seed, because immediately I actually just go to the right and find an underground opening. Now, it doesn't actually yield as much silver as I would have liked, but it does actually yield some interesting stuff. You'll also notice that whenever I come across bombs, I'll just automatically throw them. And the reason why I just automatically throw these bombs is because it actually prevents the demolitionist from moving in. Because his spawn requirement is for you to have a bomb in your inventory. And what we don't want is the demolitionist moving in. Because if the demolitionist moves in, then that means we have to make a whole third of a house for the NPCs and that. So you'll see me just, if I come across bombs, I'll actually throw them and get rid of them. I think around about now I just smash the last remaining pots, and I'll just then decide, I get rid of these bombs, and then a recall potion. I don't know why I went back to get the dirt then, but I then decide I'm going to check what's on the other side. You know, see if there's an opening on the other side of the desert or anything. Because, like I said, I do want to try and get all 50 silver by the first night. And at this point, there's kind of not really much to talk about because the terrarium moves kind of sluggishly. And it's just a case of, well, there's like, right now, another 6 or so minutes. It's not even that, like a 7 or so minutes left in this speedrun thing. Now, obviously, if it was optimized, it'd probably be a lot faster, but this is just really just a proof of concept, just to show that, you know, this is a dumb idea and it can be done. I decided to see if there's like a living wood thing down here, just to see if there's any like coins. Because that's what I am looking for, is a chest that's got coins in it. I do ultimately decide not to go down there because it'd be a case I might need to recall potion again. I did spot a chest up here, you know, as I was actually walking by. You'll notice me fumble a bit here as well by leaving the control button on. And this one actually does have a bit of like coins in it. That one doesn't, but it does have a bomb in it, so we're just gonna throw that to get rid of it. And there is actually a third chest down here. Bit of unfortunate terrain there that just makes it a bit difficult to get through. But that actually has an aglet, which does give us a very slight speed buff. Not much, but it may have affected things. I'm not really too sure if it did, but it was just worth putting it on anyway. So at this point, I just decide I'm gonna like go up here. I'm just gonna eat that just to give me like stat boost and make things a little bit faster. You'll notice I do move a little bit faster after eating that because of the minor improvements and that. But further along, I do actually go into a ditch, but I do actually get myself out of it because there was absolutely no point in going down there. I accidentally hit the control button there, so just ignore that. And this actually does lead, if I remember correctly, underground. But interestingly enough, there is actually a snow house down here. Which, someone will probably want to know this, but there is actually a legendary ice blade there, so... and that actually gave us enough silver to actually get the merchant to move in. So at this point, I decide what I'm going to do is I'm just going to build a death pillar. Which is a pillar that if we climb all the way to the top of it and jump off, it will instantly kill our character. So I'm going to do that while I'm waiting for the merchant to move in. And he does kind of take a bit of time to move in, which is annoying. But that should be good enough. And I know it's good enough because I actually try it out later on. And every single time I actually jump off it, it actually kills me. And I think at this point I just kind of run back and forth waiting for the merchant to move in. And he basically doesn't move in until, like, basically sunset. And you can see me at one point just angrily mashing the button for the inspecting the house thing, because I'm just getting like frustrated at how long it takes for him to like actually move in. It is something that I do kind of find a bit annoying about Terraria, is just waiting for Terraria NPCs to show up, because some of them really do take the time. And I think right now I actually like genuinely considered attacking that bird, just because it would give me something slightly more interesting to do than, you know, running back and forth. But yeah, it takes a while to show up. But whenever I think what happens, I think I go to the desert, start fighting this vulture, and then he shows up like that. So I have to kind of go backwards and kill this vulture before it tries and kills me. But with him moved in, we've now safely got our bug net secured. So we buy the bug net, and once we buy the bug net, you'll start seeing me basically constantly respawning and throwing myself off this pillar. And that's just to spawn a graveyard. I think we needed either 7 or 8 tombstones in total to actually get the graveyard biome. I know I think like 6 tombstones, the screen starts to darken, but the music doesn't start to play until like you've got 7 or 8. And the main reason why we're actually getting a graveyard biome even set up in the first place is because, well, that spawns rats. It has 2 like critters that it can spawn that you can catch, which are the rat and the maggot. Now I do have a little bit of unfortunate luck whenever I do finally get the graveyard biome set up. Well, basically what happens is it takes a while for any critter to spawn, because if you remember correctly with like Terraria spawning conditions, critters and enemies can only spawn off screen. So you'll see me run back and forth to actually kind of get the boundaries around where the NPC housing is, like, you know, set up for spawning. And the main reason why I actually do it around the NPC housing is because NPCs actually lower hostile like spawns and that. So it actually lowers the chance of monsters spawning, but doesn't affect critters, if I remember correctly. So basically the entire plan was to have the rats spawn around where the guide and the merchant are, because it counts as a town. So at this point you'll see me, I'll kill a few zombies, and that's just because, well, they're in the way. And it is kind of lucky that the ice blade is, well, we did find it, because that basically, well, it kills zombies faster than the copper short sword. And I don't know if zombies can actually harm the rats, but I know with most critters, they do actually kill them in one shot. You'll see me run around, you know, with the bug net, just wildly swinging it. And that's just in case I come across something that I don't quite see. It does take quite a bit of a while for anything to spawn in general. I think the first spawn I actually get is a maggot. And I think there's actually 2 that I get. But it's not the maggots that we're after. It's obviously the rat. That's why I've made this entire dumb video in the first place. I think it's now that I get the first maggot. And just now it's just a game of waiting for a rat to spawn. It doesn't take much longer. It takes, well, less than a minute for it to happen, because, well, I can see the timeline while I'm editing, and I can see there is less than a minute left. I think there's another maggot there, and I think it might be on the way back that I actually catch the rat. I think maybe around about here or so. Or is it on the way back? I'm not too sure, but it's like I grabbed the rat very soon. yeah, it might be now that I think I decide to kill a zombie, but then I hear the rat. I think, right, that's it. There we go, lads. Rat percent. And I think now, just to kind of celebrate catching the rat, I make a little shrine to it. So there we go. If you like this, don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys later.